I'm happy to speculate wildly on what these cards might be, even though they are quite grainy, and these are just complete guesses. Let's do this rapid fire, because there's a lot of them. So I think that first one might be the Venatori. It's a group fighting a dragon, so I think it's Lords of Fortune. Then I think it's probably the female Canary race option. That's Harding. I think that might be representing just choosing a mage. I think that is probably representing the Wardens because of the wings on the shield. After that, I think that's the Rogue card. And then at the end, I think it's the female elf. Next row, I think that is Athlan Forest because it's got floaty rock buildings. Then it's our Goodbye Solas, but he's got the Dreadwolf kind of dominating him, so maybe that's a potential bad ending for him. Then we've got Neve's card, then we've got Weishaupt's card, then we've got the Warrior card, then we've got the Canary male card. Then I think that's Manfred's card. It could be that big giant skeleton. And I think that might be Zara Renata from the Wigmaker job, who's linked to the Venatori. But what I think is Minrathus, human female, human male, Emmerich, elf male, Darkspawn, dwarf male, Balara, Titans. This one at the end, it could be the Well of Sorrows, or it could be a different Evanuris well, but it doesn't look good. This one, I don't really know, but I couldn't find a card that fit the Shadow Dragons, and he kind of looked like he has snakes coming out of his head, and it's purpley and a bit... So I'm going with that. I'm going to go with that. Then I think this one is the Morn Watch, and then underneath, this almost looks like one of the orbs that I think is a Titan heart, so it could be about a blighted Titan, because it's got red lyrium veins coming off it. And then we've got Solas art, again, just more of him. But again, he's disconnected from that Dreadwolf form, so maybe it's about him not being that Dreadwolf title anymore. It could be an ending card for him. Then we've got the Idol, Unblighted and Blighted, and I suspect it could get blighted if we stab a blighted Evanuris with it. Then we've got Dabrin's card, then we've got Tasha's card, then I think that's the Navarra Grand Necropolis. And then there's this weird blighted thing that's in some of the concept art. And I don't know what it is, I don't know where it is, but I've seen it in the concept art. And this one could be breaking out of the Fade jail with the hand breaking out. I don't know. Then we've got Solas again. That could be Solas now. It could be a prequel card for Solas. It's some depiction of Solas. And I've done a fuller description of that in a separate video. And that one's Antiva. I think that's Elganon. I think that's Gil. And that's got the weird tree, it looks like, that was also in the concept art. I don't know. This looks like a canary mask. I'm going to guess it might represent the Arashock. Then I was thinking this might be the Veil Jumpers, as it looks like someone jumping. And then at the end, I don't know if this one represents the Elven people, because there's the Stag and the Wolf card that represent Lavellan. So it could be Lavellan or the Elven people, as it's that kind of same colour scheme and looks like those similar animals. Then we've got our Boiler Canis. Then what looks like a female dwarf. Then it's some ruins that could be underwater ones. It could be somewhere else. Then this looks like the Antam of the Canary to me. This looks like some freaky monster that could be Gil, but the headpiece looks different, so it could just be a different freaky monster she created. Then we have Asan's card, then Ravane, and then at the end, I think that's just the crows. Then there's this weird infinity symbol on the back of the cards, which looks similar to what Balara was messing about with in the trailer. There's lots of blue and purple magic, which I've said I think is going to be important for this game. So yeah, I find that really interesting because it looks like the purple and blue magic also powered the Illuvians. So I do think there's a link to the Evanuris style of magic. But yeah, I have no idea if any of these are right. These are just my initial thoughts on what these cards might mean. Let's do a breakdown of this card and what this all might mean. The more obvious things first, we obviously have the Lyrium dagger here, pointing towards my man. Not sure if I like that, but anyway. We have Lyrium down at the bottom, which I'm going to guess is from Titans. We have blue in his eyes, which again matches the Lyrium, matches the Lyrium veins at the bottom. So I'm guessing he's getting some power from his Titan. There's also the yellow wiggly lines here, and we saw wiggly lines like this in the Trespasser DLC when he's removing the Valasleen, which is interesting. I don't know what it means, the fact that it's yellow. It might just be because it matches the gold really well, because they were blue last time. But the wolf is more at his side this time, rather than standing against him. So it seems like he's kind of more come together in this one, compared to some of the other wolf iconography where we've seen where it's looming over him, or he's standing off against it. In here, it looks like there's a bit more of harmonization between them. So perhaps this could be some kind of end scenario where he's more happy with himself, or it could be a prequel scenario when he was Mythal's general. The reason I think it could be a prequel scenario, even though we've got the new dagger is because he said that this was his idol in the past, so maybe he used to also look like this. There's also my mutual fellow Sanis mentioned that this could have been like the slow arrow reference, which is also from Evaneri's time, and the crown again could be when he was a general of Mythal. So this could be the past. However, there's this big round black thing, and I think that could indicate the Fade Jail, or it could indicate the creating the veil. Dunno, it's just a big round black thing. It could be like the shadow of the wolf itself, but it's just a bit weird shaped. But yeah, not sure. I freaked out about it on the Twitch stream. And it might also just indicate different possible endings where he becomes some kind of leader for the elves, or he gets murdered, or he becomes more synchronous with his like spirit self. It could also reflect that. The fact that he's got his own crown now, I just find really interesting because we never saw that in any of the like past art. So it's nice that they've given him his own motif like the rest of the Evaneris. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure what it means, but we'll find out. Yes, Solas is the Dreadwolf. So I do think that this is depicting Solas in this card. It is not a separate entity. I find really interesting in a lot of this artwork is Solas and his like relationship with that wolf side and how it's being portrayed. So here it looks like he's by his side. This is described as a self-portrait of Fen'Harel, and again they are like together, they're on the same side. It looks like there's like more cohesion between them. Whereas like on the tower card here, he's almost like looming over him and he's like tied to it, and it doesn't look like they're actually like working together. It looks more like a threat. It looks more like a monster. And even here, it looks like he's standing off against it. It looks like they're not on the same side anymore. And this was a discussion that we're having on my Twitch stream, and I think it's related to his own relationship with that title of Fen'Harel. So thanks to my commenters and Twitch watchers for this, because I think it's a really good point. In ancient Arthalan, when he was working to like free his people and he was on side with that Fen'Harel role, he took that as a badge of honor, that name, because he thought he was doing what was right. He thought he was helping people. And Solas and Fen'Harel are working together to free people. So I think that that cohesion there is related to also that name, that role as the Dreadwolf is what he was wanting to do at this point. I also think it can relate to the romance card because it shows that we fell in love with Solas, the man, not the title Fen'Harel, that duty that he had. We fell in love with him. Whereas here, that title of Fen'Harel that he's got back again isn't something that he necessarily wants and is another burden on top of him that's looming over him because it's something he has to do. And here it shows that like duality of nature between Fen'Harel and Solas, the Dreadwolf, that title that he doesn't necessarily want to be known as anymore because it's linked with so much death, so much regret that he's actively like against it. They're not cohesive anymore. So maybe this shows Solas accepting the title of Fen'Harel again as something to be proud of rather than it being another burden, something that he was reluctantly called because of all the sacrifice and the death that he has to get to this point. So this could show a like happier ending of acceptance and moving on from his regret and from his guilt.